some of you know about this. I guess it's new to others of you here as well. So we've been working since November 2025, May 2025, with a group of scientists and practitioners here in the UK, and that's what the whole focus of that work was, to think about how we would create a data standard for peatlands. So somewhat following on from the peat depth standard that Natural England have developed and published. So we held these two workshops. The first one was to sort of ask the questions about what should we be recording for these sites, what was important to record, you know, what almost must we record at each site, what would be nice to have and what didn't really matter. So we categorised them in that way. And then we sort of went away to think for a bit on how we would develop that standard. So based on all the terms in that standard, which I'm not going to show today or go through in detail, we created a data standard that links to existing data standards. So we haven't made anything up, you know, created something new. We've linked to various data standards that are used in the UK and in Europe and internationally. But the key issue we had with that was that a lot of feedback was, it's okay, we want to try and do something like this, but we record our data in a certain way, and it'd be really difficult for us to change the way we do that now. We certainly won't go back and change it. We might change it for the future. But other organisations said, we won't change the way we do it at all. We'd like to get involved somehow, but we need to do this for statutory reasons, and we can't change it. So that led to us having the second workshop, which was about a system that could take this fixed standard and bridge the gap to the data that was being collected by people in the field. And the ultimate idea, of course, is that we can bring the different data sets together and we can aggregate them relatively painlessly. So, yeah, I don't think for a long time, or perhaps never, it won't be completely painless, but it could be a lot less painless than it is now. So, what happened? We found out about a system that's used by the humanitarian sector. So this system is called Humanitarian Exchange Language, and it's an open source standard, so anybody can take it and develop it, which is what we did. And the idea is that, you know, these organisations are getting data from different places, different organisations, and sometimes these things are life and death matters, and so they need a fast way to understand exactly what's happening, where they need to distribute aid and where they need to act quickly. So they developed this tagging system, essentially. So essentially allows you to create this bridge between the standard and the actual data itself, so that as long as people understand what they should tag, so if we're calling something water table depth, it doesn't matter if we have 16 different ways of saying what water table depth is, as long as we all tag it the same, then we can say these are water table data and we can aggregate those together. So that's what we tried out a little bit at that second workshop, which highlighted, as you'd expect, lots of issues. And since then, we've had a couple of smaller meetings to discuss how we might go on to address these problems, some of which I'm going to talk about in a second. But at the same time, we sort of recognise that if people don't engage with this, then whilst it might be a nice and interesting thing to do, it's not going to have any legs. It's not going to last for very long. So we've focused on trying to engage different peatland organisations. So we've spoken to the Global Peatland Initiative. There's a group in Canada called CanPeat who work on metadata databases for peatlands in Canada. There's a group in Spain that we've been talking to called 4Peat, and they approached us and said, we've seen this standard, we'd like to try and adopt it for the whole of our project. In the UK, we've been talking to the Peatland Code that we saw this morning, and also you're probably all aware of the Peatland Restoration Standard. So we've been trying to link the data standard with the restoration standard. So, if you're doing this restoration and recording these data, then use this tagging system, please. And so that's going to go into the guidance for the restoration standard. So we'd like to try and get as many people as involved. We're not saying what's here is the finished product, because it almost certainly isn't. We're not saying this is the best way to do it. It's just a way. So we're trying to get people involved, give feedback, and see how we can improve the chance of creating something longer lasting. And then the last workshop we're going to be doing is in September in the Netherlands at Power to the Peatlands. So hopefully we can take something from what you all do today and take that forward into that workshop. So we've not repeated anything in any of the workshops, so it'd be great if we could move on a bit with what we learned from today's discussion. So based on we've got all these data in the standard that say, or these terms in the standard. There were 50 odd of them actually. So we created tags to match these terms in the standard, and then at this workshop in November we tested that, and there were lots of difficulties with data that people had brought to test with. So since then we've done a little bit more work, but I wanted to explain how it works at the moment, so that then in this second sort of half-hour activity you can think about, if we took an approach that we're talking about here, these tags, could we address some of the issues that you've raised? If not, why not? What else would we need to do? Is there a different way of doing something? So that's the idea of the second part. So I'll try and explain this briefly. So here is, not in much detail, as I said, what we did, we got this Peatland standard, so how could we implement that? We've got this thing called Peatland Exchange Tags, which is our tagging system. So everything in the draft standard has a tag. It's all published on Zenodo, so it's completely open access. If any of you want to get involved with it, please do. And yeah, that would be great, the more people and organisations that get involved. We also developed a really simple sort of browser. It's an app that runs in your browser. It doesn't need any internet connection, because obviously that can be an issue for some organisations. But essentially it helps you tag your data, so you can load up your data. It will suggest various tags for your data, or you can modify them, and you can just go through it a bit more quickly. So that the idea of that was really for the workshop that we ran, but also it's something to think about for the future. It's certainly not a ready-to-use app for anything seriously. It's a toy app really for trying. So where we are now, we've got this 4-level framework. So we break it into what exists. So what location do these data describe? when was it observed? So when was the site or location visited? Who was it visited by? Oops, that should be what was measured. So what was observed? So what exists? When was it observed? What was observed? So either peat depth, water table, or the vegetation that we've been talking about. So also what instrumentation was used, what was the precision of the instrument, and then we have something we've been grappling with for a little while, but this might be the way to deal with it, separating out the metadata. We initially started to look at metadata only, but ended up mixing the two. I ended up mixing the two together, and it seemed to us to complicate matters. So now I'm sort of thinking, if we have a separate metadata set of data, which we already had the tags for, but we just didn't treat it separately. So the way it works, as you can see, if we look at the site, it'll say PXT site, and then it'll be some part of the site description, so whatever that is. It might be the name, or it could be a code number you give to a site. And then you've got it could have the coordinates for the site. So you'll see some of these in what we're going to look at next. So that whole segment of data that's linked to the site, or the terms, then their tag always starts with PXT site. Then we have the when did you go there. So we can talk about the different way we record time, and what sort of level we need to record the time. So they're all down as the PXT event tags, and then what was observed. So this could be PXT measured, water table or peat depth, whatever. And there are lots of these already, but that's really about the measurement itself. And then we have the metadata, which contains all the information that perhaps people mentioned, like it'd be nice if we knew that there was a report about this that told us why this was done, what the licensing is for the data, when the data set runs from, all those things that are really good to know, but are often missing, unless you have to put your data into a repository like the EIDC or something like that, then often we find that the metadata is missing. So that's the current system that we're, I guess, exploring. So